Good morning, and thank you for joining me again this Saturday morning. I want to thank everyone that watched and shared last week. I've had a great week this week, and I want to get right into my little message this morning because there's just so many different ways I wanted to go with this, and I'm not sure even yet what I'm supposed to say, but I know God will lead, guide, and direct me. But today's message is called Into the Jungle. As you can see, I have some friends with me today, and my beautiful friend and Jeff's cousin Becky Smith had got me the little bear and the lion, and I told her that God had given me a message that I wanted to use with these. So like I said, it's called Into the Jungle. When I think of a jungle, I think of an unpredictable, dark place that has wild animals, and I know our life journey takes us into the jungle sometimes. I know with what I'm going through with the cancer that it feels like I'm in a jungle sometimes, just a dark place. But I thank God that He is the light and He'll shine through. But as I was thinking about being in a jungle, I thought, well, why would we even end up in a jungle? And I came up with three different things. And one thing is because of our own disobedience. Another thing is just you could be lost and just wander into the jungle. And then other times it's nothing that we've done or anything that we could have avoided, but it's because God has taken us there for a time of testing and trying and at the end, to strengthen us. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the disobedience. I know when we were kids, we lived about maybe 3/4 of a mile away from my cousin's house. And in the summer, we would ride our bikes or we would walk up to his house. And it wasn't quite in the middle, but there was a pine grove that covered the road. And it was really nice in the summertime because it was cool. And when you were running or walking or riding your bike through there, when you got to the edge of that pine grove, you knew you had a little space that it would be cool and kind of a refreshing time in there. And we would go through there. And of course, Mom would tell us to be home before dark. They had told us that people would see bobcats and they would see bears and everything else. So they wanted us home before dark so that we could see what was going on, and that, you think the animals and the wild things come out at night to hunt. So she wanted us home before dark. So we would go up through the day and we would spend all day outside playing and swimming, whatever we were doing. But we would push the envelope. We would wait until it got dusk. And that was okay when you came out of his house until you got to the edge of the pine grove or to the edge of that jungle. And you would look into there, and because the moonlight couldn't get through there, it was so dark you couldn't hardly see one step in front of the other. Well, when we would hit that edge, if we were on our bike or if we were walking, we would just take off and go as fast as we could until we got to the end of that. Well, one night or one evening, I waited until late, which I shouldn't have. I was disobedient, and I waited, and I got to the edge of that walk. When I went to step into that pine grove or into that jungle, I took off running as fast as I could. Well, I didn't go very far, and I almost ran into a deer. It was that dark in there that I couldn't see. And I don't know if he scared me more or I scared him more, but he took off running and I even ran faster. But anyway, we got through. When you got through that, you could see then again. You could see in front of yourself because it wasn't quite all the way dark yet. And then we'd go on home. But if it wasn't for our disobedience, we wouldn't have had to been scared like that, because you would run like you thought every wild beast that you could ever think of was behind you, chasing you. But for my example from the Bible I want to use for disobedience was Samson. Samson wanted to find himself a wife, so he found one from the land of the Philistines in Tamnah. And when he was going through that, he wanted his mom and dad to go with him to meet the love of his life. He thought that God wanted him to have, which he knew it wasn't, because he wasn't supposed to pick someone out of his own country to marry. So when he was on his journey down to Tamnah, he was walking on the road, and out of nowhere, a lion came out and attacked him. Well, Samson of course, we know God gives Samson his strength, and he just tore that lion apart. But if he would have never been on that road and on that place, that lion would have never came after him, and he wouldn't have had to defend himself. And then again, there's just times when people that don't know Jesus are lost, and you're just wandering. I mean, even with Samson, if God had put up roadblocks, and you saw, the barriers that they put up and tape it off and say, do not enter, detour, go another way. Well, us in our disobedience says, I don't believe that, and I'm just going to jump over this barrier, I'm just going to pull this tape down, and I'm going in here anyway. And that's when we get in trouble, because we are disobeying God's word. And if you're lost and wondering and you don't have Jesus and you're in this dark place and in the jungle, you've seen on TV you hear all these wild birds making calls, and you hear the lions roaring and the elephants trumping, and you hear all kinds of things you don't even have any idea what they are, and you just never know what's lurking in the darkness and what can come after you. That's my cat trying to attack me. But when you're in that place, Satan is never going to show up like, this is a cute little panda bear. They're so cute and they're so cuddly, and that's how he comes to you. He's never going to show himself as the fierce grizzly bear that's just wanting to tear you apart. He's going to come as deceitfulness, because Satan is darkness. There is no light. There is no truth in him, and that's how he will come at you, to lie and steal and kill and destroy you. So when you're in that dark place and you don't know where to go and you can't see, you're blinded. Satan blinds you so that you can't see. But then there's that time of just testing and trials when Jesus was called into the wilderness. So he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights. So he was prepared. He was prepared for his wilderness or his jungle. And Satan came to him like a serpent, as a snake attacked him, where Samson, a lion, had attacked him. But Jesus was prepared, and when Satan tempted him and tried him and was testing him, all he did was speak God's word. He spoke the truth to him, and with no truth or light being in him, he couldn't take it. So he departed from Jesus, and Jesus came out of that jungle stronger and made the point that God had given him to make, served the purpose of him being in that jungle. Excuse me, no matter what or why or how you are at the edge of that jungle or you're in the middle of your jungle, no matter what, Jesus has called us out of darkness into his marvelous light. So remember, if you're in that place and you have Jesus in you, he is shining. He'll be a light for you that you can see, that you won't be surprised by the lion jumping out at you, or you won't be surprised by what was in front of you, because he'll lead, guide, and direct you. Even though you may not be able to see where you're going, Jesus will lead you through that darkness and through that. But if you don't have Jesus, you're blinded. You need the light of Jesus in you to help you get through your jungle or your tough spot that he has. And remember that Jesus is the king of any jungle. He will be there with you. He's already defeated death, hell, and the grave. And I know that sometimes we think there's no way out, that we'll never get out of this darkness, we'll never get out of this dry spot, we'll never make it through. Let me tell you, you will. That Jesus will strengthen you, he will guide you, he will lead you. And 1 Peter 5:8 says that Satan is seeking whom he may devour like a lion. He is hunting us. So be prepared, because even though you say, well, I've never been through that, or I don't know what that is, believe me, if you're a Christian and you're living for the Lord, you will go through a dark time. You will go through a jungle. You will go through a wilderness, whatever you want to call it. But Jesus will be right there with you. Cry out to him, and he'll lead, guide, and direct you through anything that you're going through. There's so much more I would like to say about this, but I don't want to keep going on, because I like to keep these short so people will watch. But I just want to pray for anyone today that's in this jungle or in this place. Heavenly Father, I thank you and I praise you and I give you glory. I know this is nothing I would wanted to come upon me, this cancer, but I know you are working in it. You're working through me, and I know there's a purpose for it, and that you're going to bring me out, and that you're going to bring me into your marvelous light, that I can tell others about what you've done for me, Father. And I just want to pray for anyone that's in this place today, Father, whether it's because of their own choosing, that the choices they've made that's brought them there, or if this is a time of testing for them, God, I ask that you would send your power, your strength to lead, God, and direct them. Give them strength, Father, to go through this and bring them out stronger and more prepared to do your work, God. And for those that's in this dark place or in this jungle, wilderness, whatever they want to call it, Father, that don't know you, Father, I ask that something I say today will inspire them, Father, to look into your word, open your word, and find that you gave your life for them and that you are just waiting for them to ask you to come into their lives. Father, I ask that you would touch everyone that hears this, meet every need that they have, and I give you all glory, all honor, and all praise. And I want to say once again, thank you to everyone that has listened and anyone that would share and give this to their family or friends or someone that's going through something. But I also wanted to let you know that Jeff and I have some opportunities that we've been involved with. And on March 18th, in the square in Martinsburg, there's an event going on called God's in the Square. I just want to invite everyone to come out to that. They're going to have the roads blocked off. There's going to be food. And most of all, there's going to be praise and worship and testimonies. And we just want to reach out to people that's hurting and don't know Jesus, and we want to bring the community of Martinsburg into the marvelous light of Jesus Christ. And I just want to thank you for telling people about that, and we'll have more advertisement of that when it gets a little bit closer. I know it's only a couple weeks away, but just be looking for things about that on Facebook. And also on March 31st and April 1st at Inwood Assembly of God, they are having a women's conference called Order My Steps, sorry about that. And it's going to be a women's conference that's going to be wonderful. It's free of charge, and want to invite everyone to come out to that. And like I said, I'll get more information out about that also as it gets closer time. But I just want to say I love you. I thank you. And thank Miss Becky for my lion and my panda that inspired me to bring forth this little message to you today. And once again, I love you and God loves you. Thank you. Having trouble getting this turned off here, but we'll get it. Just remember, Jesus is the light. Jesus is the light in your darkness, and he will meet every need that you have.